Today's story is about a complicated relationship involving the spoiled offspring of a rich and arrogant boy who falls in love with his own half-sister. We will see the complex ups and downs of this relationship and the storm in their lives throughout this story. The story begins with a girl, Noah. Noah is going to live with his mother Rafaela in the luxurious house of her boyfriend William. In fact, Rafaela was divorced from her first husband, and now she was going to start her new life with William. William was a very rich man, and in a few days the wedding of Rafaela and William was going to take place. However, Noah was not happy with this marriage. Her mother Rafaela tries to convince her, and I know it's hard for you to leave your boyfriend Dean when she arrives at William's house. So William welcomes them warmly, but Noah doesn't talk to him properly. Unhappy and silent, she follows her mother back home. Her mother takes her to her room and tells her that her half-brother Nick is also in the house. Noah stands on the balcony and looks outside and sees a shadow behind the wheels, which may be Nick, but she cannot see his face clearly. That's when her best friend's daughter calls. They walk into the kitchen and talk. Suddenly Noah is shocked to see Nick in front of her and his phone falls out of his hand. When she bends down to pick up the phone, Nick's large and dangerous-looking dog comes and stands up. Frightened, Noah hides behind Nick, while Rafaela and William arrive and the atmosphere changes. She then went back to her room. Arriving there, she remembers that her friend was still on the phone and had heard everything. The daughter jokingly says, "How is your stepbrother?" Noah replies, "I haven't looked closely at him tonight. Everyone is getting ready to go out to dinner." Noah comes wearing a beautiful dress, seeing which everyone starts praising her. As the family goes to dinner, Nick suddenly overtakes them at high speed in his car. After a while, everyone goes to the restaurant and starts eating. Then he tells his parents, "I have an important job. I have to go," and gets out. Nick's father instructs him to leave Noah at home and drive slowly. While moving ahead, Nick deliberately starts driving the car fast. The argument between the two inside the car becomes irritating, and in a fit of rage, Noah says something derogatory about Nick's mother. Listen to this. Nick stops the car and angrily kicks Noah out of the car, leaving her in the middle of the road. After some time, Noah stops a car in which a boy named Mario is sitting. Mario gives her a lift. Mario explains during the conversation that he's going to a party at a villa. Gradually, it is revealed that Noah is Nick's sister. Mario says Nick is also at the same party. Hearing this, Noah says, "You take me to that party too." Arriving at the party, Noah watches one after another girls come to Nick and kiss him. Seeing this, she is shocked. An angry Noah walks up to him and punches him hard, saying, "You're just having fun here, leaving me alone on a deserted street. Anything could have happened to me." Noah says, "Why are you flirting with girls?" Nick replies with a smile, "The girls themselves come running towards me." During the conversation, Nick gets too close to Noah, which makes her uncomfortable and pushes him away. Nick then goes back to another girl. Meanwhile, Noah meets a girl who claims to be Nick's childhood friend. The two become good friends. At a distance, Nick kisses another girl in a different way while teasing Noah. Just then, a boy named Rooney, who was a gangster, starts chatting with Noah and offers her a drink. As soon as Noah takes a sip of the drink, she feels strange. Nick comes there and pushes Ronnie down in a fit of rage. Noah starts drinking again, teasing the drink. Noah begins to feel dizzy. Nick is forced to take her home. On reaching home, Nick picks her up, takes her to her room and puts her to sleep. At this point, a few thoughts crossed his mind, but he's in control. Noah goes into a deep sleep and has a terrible dream. In the dream, she sees herself as a small child. Her mother is waking her up and hides her in a safe place because his real father is screaming at the door. In the morning, she goes to the beach to get some relief. After some time, Nick reaches there for surfing with his friends. Noah looks at him as he changes clothes, and there are dirty thoughts in her mind. Noah soon learns that Nick is going to take part in a big race at night. In today's race, Nick is up against Ronnie's group, and both racers are ready with their own cars. As soon as the race starts, both of them start driving at high speed, and the eyes of the audience are fixed on this competition. In the end, Nick wins the race once again on the back of his excellent driving skills. His friends and others start celebrating loudly in the joy of his victory. Meanwhile, a message arrives on Noah's phone. She sees her boyfriend Dan kissing with her friend. In a fit of rage, she goes to a boy present at the party and starts taking pictures of him kissing her. Seeing all this, Nick quickly reaches there and removes the boy from there. Nick then takes Noah's phone and realizes that she is doing all this to irritate Drain. Nick smiled and said, "If I take a picture with you, will you go home from here?" Noah is surprised and nods in agreement. Nick kisses her in a very seductive way so that Noah takes the photo. Nick then puts her in his car and says, "I'll tell my friend to drop you home." Saying this, Nick again becomes romantically involved with another girl sitting in the car. She immediately sends a photo to Dan and starts teasing him. To show her anger, she comes to the driving seat and starts the car. Just then Ronnie comes there with his car and shockingly asks, "What are you doing here on the racing track?" Nova responds with confidence that, "I can race." Ronnie laughs at this, but the race starts immediately. There is a fierce racing competition between the two in which both of them put all their strength. Nick quickly arrives to find Noah racing in his place. Finally, Noah wins and surprises everyone. People start rejoicing, but Ronnie, angry at his defeat, accuses him. He says, "You have broken the rules of the game. Sent a girl to a competition. Now we need money and your car." Hearing this, Noah gets angry and starts arguing with Ronnie. That's when Ronnie angrily abuses Noah. Hearing this, Nick's anger flares up and he attacks Ronnie, and soon both the groups also get involved in the fight. Noah sat down slowly, but a friend of Nick's immediately ran towards her and pulled her over and put her in Nick's car. A few minutes later, Nick quickly got into the car. Without any delay, Nick's friend started the car and drove away. For more days to go. A new dawn has come. Noah was still in a deep sleep. When his mother came slowly into the room and began to wake her up, Noah's mother lovingly said, "Today is your dad William's success party." His mother said that Nick had been missing for 4 days, but she was sure that he would return after learning about the party. Nick came to visit his younger sister Maggie. Maggie was battling cancer and Nick was heartbroken to see her condition. Meanwhile, Noah and his parents returned from the success party. Everyone at the party was happy, but Noah's mind was elsewhere. She was still wondering why Nick hadn't come. She was sitting alone in front of the TV when suddenly Nick is entering the house. Nick went over to Noah and sat down without saying anything. After a few moments of silence, the two began to talk. Slowly, their conversation turned into smiles and they began to get closer to each other. After a few moments they kissed each other, but Nick stopped himself and said, "This is wrong, we shouldn't be doing this." The next morning, Noah was washing his car. It was then that she saw Nick staring at her from a distance. Seeing this, she immediately drenched herself with water. Nick laughed. Noah's mother suddenly called Dan home. She had brought him to meet Noah. When Noah's boyfriend suddenly tries to kiss her, and immediately turns his face to the other side. Seeing that the mother who was standing nearby beckons Dan to take her home, while Nick is bathing in the swimming pool, Noah comes to him and he suddenly pulls her into the water. Soon both of them go to a corner of the pool, where their closeness increases and they start kissing. Dan, watching this special moment from afar, is stunned. At this moment, Noah's mother's voice echoed. He gets out of there, and moments after he leaves, Dave comes closer and asks in a low voice, "Is this the same boy you sent me the photo of?" No one answers. After some time, Nick is going somewhere alone. On the way, Ronnie bumps into him. Ronnie, who had not forgotten the old grudge, again taunts Noah and starts talking insultingly. Nick's anger gets out of control and they both leave again. The next scene takes us to Nick's house, where there are fresh injury marks on his face. It was quite evident that there was a big fight between the two. Nick stands near the tired pool, and just then his eyes fall on the sleeping Noah. He slowly walked over to her and looked at her. That's a mark on his stomach. He tries to cover her stomach, but suddenly Noah's eyes open. She punches Nick hard without thinking. "I thought it was Dan, I was scared," she says, apologizing nervously. "Oh, that's what happened." After this unexpected incident, both of them again come close to each other. Everything stops for a moment, but then Dan comes there and is stunned to see them both in this state. Noah immediately takes hold of her and tells him, "Please don't tell anyone about this and leave tomorrow." The next morning, Noah's mother gives her a letter. "Dan's left the home," she says, and Noah heaves a sigh of relief after a while, and arrive at a fight club with his friends. As soon as the friends go inside, they start talking in a corner. Their conversation slowly turns into intimacy and they start kissing each other. This attraction of them had increased to such an extent that now it was difficult for them to stop themselves. They seem to have become addicted to each other. As the two become closer, their feelings deepen. Two other friends arrive in another car, and we see Nick and Noah together from a distance. Seeing this, a friend comes to Nick and tries to convince him. "You should understand that Noah is your stepsister, you shouldn't do that." But he doesn't say anything. Everyone decides to go inside the club. Now it's Nick's turn to fight. He moves towards the stage, but then Noah holds his hand and says, "Please don't, I don't like fighting." Anxiety was clearly visible in his eyes. But Nick walks into the fighting ring. The fight begins and Nick slowly begins to win. His victory is assured with every punch and every stride. It becomes difficult for Noah to see all this and she goes out panicking. At the same time, one of Nick's friends also comes out behind him. The two of them start talking, and in the midst of the conversation, he tries to kiss his friend Noah. Inside, Nick ends the fight with the announcement of his victory and receives the prize money. But as soon as he comes out and sees this scene, his anger reaches the seventh heaven. He immediately pushes his friend and in a fit of rage scolds him and drives him away. Then he turns to Noah and says seriously, "Later don't let anyone come close to you." Anger and rage begin to well up in Noah's eyes. She says angrily, "I don't like your fighting and your behavior. There can be nothing between us now. You'd better stop talking to me." There is a heavy moment of silence between the two, and after that they move away from each other in the coming days. Both are trying to understand each other. Then one day Nikki's dad calls him and tells him, "You know, Noah's dad Jonas is out of jail. He is a dangerous man who caused a lot of trouble to Noah and his mother Rafaela." Noah's body bore marks of the beating she had received. He was sent to jail on the basis of Noah's statement. But now 2 weeks ago he's out, and I'm afraid he could be a threat to Noah and his mom again. Noah is at a party where she drinks too much. Nick continues to search for her, calling everyone who finds her. At the party, one of Noah's friends jokingly locks her in a cupboard. This joke becomes a bad dream for Noah. Because she was young, her crazy father used to keep her locked in the cupboard like this. Just then Nick reaches there and opens the cupboard and takes her out. He spends the night sitting in Noah's room with her, comforting her that all is well. In the morning, Nick is about to quietly walk into his room when his dad comes in and sees them together. They leave without saying anything. In fact, they had come to tell Nick about his sister Maggie's illness, that she is in the hospital. Nick, despite his confusion and troubles, Noah goes to meet his sister Maggie. There they both talk to her, forgetting everything for a moment. On the way back, Noah worriedly says, "Your daddy will never let us be together anymore." Hearing this, Nikki's eyes are filled with pain and discomfort. He comes close to Noah without saying anything. He starts kissing her by hugging her silently. After this, both of them go for a walk on the seashore. There, in the refreshing breeze and the light of the moonlight, they come even closer to each other to make this night memorable, spending time with each other for hours. The journey till morning turns into a beautiful feeling. Let's say with the first ray of morning, we run away from here. But Noah refuses with a light smile and says that my mother has got a good life after many years. I cannot hurt her. After this, both of them decided to return home. On the way home, Nick suddenly stops the car and says, "You stop here, I'm going to the store to get something." He goes to the shop, but when he comes back, he sees that she is not in the car. Nick immediately tells his parents about this. They immediately sought the help of the police. The police checked the CCTV footage, and Nick immediately recognizes that Ronnie is the one who kidnapped Noah. In fact, it was Noah's father Jonas who got Ronnie the job. Jonas then calls Noah's mother and says in a threatening tone that if she wants to see her daughter safe, she will have to bring $50,000 cash by 4 p.m. tomorrow. The next day, Noah's mother and Nick's father arrive with the money in a bag. Jones had installed a hidden camera there to keep an eye on their every move to avoid any trick. Nick, on the other hand, is waiting in the car with a lady police officer. Meanwhile, lady police officer asks the Nick, "Did you really lose in a car race with Ronnie?" Nick takes a deep breath and says, "No, I didn't give up, he cheated. Even today when I see that car, I am filled with anger because I am still paying its insurance." A thought comes to Nick's mind. He remembers that there is a tracker in the car for the duration of the insurance. The police immediately track the car, which leads them to Noah's location. As soon as Jonas realizes that his car is being tracked, he gets scared and tries to run away. Suddenly he sees that Noah is driving the car because Jonas has kept her at gunpoint. He immediately followed them in his car. After reaching a place following, suddenly the car stops. Jonas immediately turns on her and forces her to drive the car. Now and are right in front of each other, and both of them quickly start driving their own car. As soon as they come very close to each other, both of them suddenly fall on their knees. Meanwhile, a female police officer in the car with Nick shoots Jonas, killing him instantly. After this, Noah's mother immediately comes and hugs her daughter. In the last scene of the story, we see him come into the room and hug her. Both are extremely happy to find each other, and this time they do not make any effort to control themselves. Just enjoy being with each other. At the end, we will see Nick and Noah's parents are having serious discussions about their relationship. They think that they have to somehow end Nick and Noah's relationship. With this, the story comes to an end. Hi friends, I hope you like this story. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to like and subscribe.